Blast Processors.
Hello. I'm back.
Mega Drive Gary has returned.
The man in the hat is back.
The man in the hat, yes. What's with the hat this week? Where's your Fatal Fury?
Well, I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time. And where's something a bit different, Tom?
Is this in occasion of the game we're looking at?
It is indeed. It is Quackshot.
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 There we go. Quackshot on the Mega Drive. This was part of a double pack along with another Disney game, Castle of Illusion. But yes, Quackshot. Tell us a little bit about Quackshot then, Gary.
Well, Quackshot was released in 91.
91.
On the Sega Mega Drive, of course.
Of course.
It also had a counterpart in the Master System, which was Lucky Downkeeper. I believe you have that.
I have that. I was a Master System gamer as a young man.
That's
I
right.
could never afford a Mega Drive, unlike you.
I always wanted a Master System as well. But,
Going back a step.
But yes, that was the counterpart. It was also re-released on the Sega Saturn in '98, I believe.
98. I think it was the same double pack as that one, isn't it?
Ah.
On the Saturn. Fantastic. So, what type of game is Quackshot?
It's a platforming game, but not like any other platforming game. And we'll explain a little bit more later.
I'm very intrigued. Shall we take a look?
I think we shall.
So here we go, here's the story of how this epic adventure begins.
Do you want to just kind of give us a short version of this story?
Okay, well, Donald's siphoning through Uncle Scrooge's library and he comes across this map that's tucked inside this book. And he's showing clues where the treasure's found. So he's like quite excited, as you know, you would be, wouldn't you, if you found a treasure map? But unfortunately, one of Pete's gangs...
spying.
Yeah, he's spying, nasty. So he runs away and they fall down a manhole. Hilarious, hilarious consequences. So he goes into a plane and
to search for the treasure.
To search for the treasure, and Daisy appears.
She's a bit miffed because Donald's jetting off.
Yeah.
But really, Donald's doing it for Daisy. He's going to pay her back and give her the gift.
Of course. So here we go.
In Quackshot, we go all over the world.
All over?
All over the world. We go many, many places. We start off in Duckburg, we go Mexico, Transylvania, Egypt as well. It's a global thing.
Wow. Do we go to the UK?
No.
Oh.
Couldn't
About
fit.
Australia?
We don't go there either.
Japan?
No.
Oh. The same.
Okay, we go many places except for them.
So he's really a lot like Indiana Jones then. He's an explorer.
We'll talk about that later, I think, Tom, as well.
Ah. Just why this quest takes you all over the globe.
Yes, we will talk about that later. So we'll have a look at some of the
let's
levels.
have a look at some of these levels, which don't include the UK.
No, we don't.
So our adventure begins on the map screen. Here we see 3 levels we can choose from. We've got Transylvania, Mexico and Duckburg. So you can choose whichever one you want to start off in the game.
But you started off in Duckburg.
Yes.
The logical beginning.
It's the most easiest one. So here we see Duckburg on the street. And now we go to Mexico here.
So it really is, as we mentioned, a global track.
Here we see the caves.
Duckburg again, this time on the rooftops. There's some really annoying little these speakers sometimes.
Yeah, they fire out.
You.
And we end up in a spooky castle, generic.
Oh, you should have a spooky castle in a game.
And the only underwater level ever in this game at all.
And of course, it goes without saying that every platformer has an underwater stage.
It's generic, isn't it?
This one actually happens in a castle, which is a bit peculiar.
And here we are, another version of a temple.
So you can see some of the kind of Indiana Jones things going on here.
Oh yeah, and spikes.
With the traps and such.
And we're outside in Egypt. So, you can see the hieroglyphics in the background with ducks on as well. And now we're on the Viking ship, above on the deck of the Viking ship.
So Donald's journey takes him everywhere. Now we've got Vikings.
Yeah.
There's plenty packed into Quackshot.
And we've got the Maharaja temple here.
Looks a lot like Aladdin, also on the Mega Drive.
Yes, it does. There's the South Pole here, where there's a bit where you have to fly across a great chasm.
It's one of the later stages in the game, isn't it?
Oh yes, and we're down here in the
Viking ship.
We're going into the jungle of the hideout, near to the end of the game this is. And the third and final temple level here, right at the end of the game. There's also this is a bit before, we're in Pete's hideout. We have to climb up and fight Pete later on in the game.
Like a lot of platform games, to defeat the enemies, you're not jumping on their heads like Mario, for instance.
No. You use a special gun that Donald carries around with him, that he puts plungers in, unlimited plungers,
Okay.
and a certain amount of ammo for popcorn and bubblegum.
Popcorn and bubblegum.
Yeah, it's very strange, I know.
So very family friendly. Donald's not carrying around a shotgun to defeat his enemies.
No, in typical Disney fashion, nobody ever dies in Disney games. They just...
Quite unique.
Yes, it's very unique. He gets upgrades as well for the plunger. He starts off with a yellow one that just stuns people, and also he gets a red one later on, which he can use to stun people and climb walls, and also he gets a green one later on where it stuns people, climb wall, and hangs on to birds to carry long passages.
I think that's what makes Quackshot quite unique, is the weapon thing does set it apart from most platform games.
It's very unusual to be firing bubblegum at, say, a tiger.
Definitely. It's how you use these weapons as well, and you have to swap between them.
Oh, yes.
As we'll show you now.
We will show you. Oh, yes.
Right, here we see the weapons in use. We've got the green plunger that you get later on.
So there's the screen where you get to choose which weapon you're using, and instances like this involve you having to switch between weapons to get through the
you have to use your bubblegum to blast through the blue blocks. And here's how you start off. You start off with a yellow one, you get a red one later on that helps you climb the walls, like I've said earlier. And then you got your bubblegum here, which helps you blast through.
That blasts through objects, so...
Yeah.
And also comes in handy for defeating Count Duckula.
Dracula.
Oh, sorry.
There's your green one there, so you have to use. And we got chilies, which when you collect 5 of them, you go into a berserking rage.
As with most Disney games, it's usually getting attacked by some wild animals, and Quackshot is no exception to this.
Yeah, there's a varied bunch of enemies to encounter in Quackshot.
Oh yes, anything from burly blokes with tomato guns, I think they're firing at you, to...
Or boxing turtles.
Yes, and birds carrying beehives to bombs.
Let's just take a look at this oddball bunch.
So we've got some enemies here. Pete's gang, lobbing things as well, and shooting.
Some really peculiar ones. Some are quite freaky.
Caterpillars,
as well,
cacti that explode, lobsters.
These birds are sort of, they got dodgy noses.
Yeah, turtles that box. If you're getting too near them, they hide in the shell. Some
Pharaoh's guards.
Yeah, and flowing flames. Generic bats, of course. Every game
That's
has
the Disney bat.
Yeah, skeletons
In your typical...
ghosts, you know, generic stuff that you find in the creepy
your haunted house level.
Count Dracula, sorry.
Easy to get confused.
Penguins, you know, Vikings that we'd expect. Fire, ghosts,
Vikings.
ghost Vikings.
That's a quite fun boss battle, isn't it?
That's very fun. I like that one. Snake charmers there that you can see. More flame-throwing pharaoh servants these times, I believe. Walruses. And Free Willy.
They look so vicious, don't they, those killer whales?
They do, they just pop up out of nowhere. So, see, look at that.
Those teeth.
And piranhas, but not in
More
3D.
teeth.
Not in 3D though.
Oh, of course.
And Beefy Pete. Just,
Yeah.
It's
creepy when he runs like that. It looks like he has many legs.
And golden statue duck.
Most treasure hunting games, you know, like Indiana Jones, for instance, you have to go all over the world, collect things, have a map, find bits and pieces of maps.
Yeah, it's quite interesting about Quackshot. The progression isn't just level after level. You get a choice of where you get to
Yes,
go.
you start off with 3. You start off with Duckburg, Mexico and Transylvania. Now, I did this a little bit different. If you want to play the game, you can go anywhere you want. Well, I started off in Duckburg, and then you can go to either Mexico or Transylvania, and you put down your flag, and then you don't have to play the level all over again. You can just go to the
Your flag.
You go to the flag.
Your pointer. What we've done is we've compiled a quick guide to getting through Quackshot for you.
Oh yes.
This is from Gary's playthrough of the game, and you can see the way Gary tackled the game, and we'll Just show you how kind of complex Quackshot is and how different it is from most platform games.
And what sort of things you pick up along the way as well.
That's right, there's a lot of backtracking, but take a look.
So you start off in Duckburg, you talk to this bloke, and he tells you to call your aeroplane, as we can see that I'm doing here on the menu screen. He tells you to call your aeroplane to go to Mexico. So you call your aeroplane, who are you doing?
You need to get a key, is that right?
Yes, this is right. You go to Mexico, as I am showing you here. Talk to this lovely sweet senorita. Says you need a special key to go into these ruins, and it's called the hero key. So put your flag down.
And that will be, you know, that your airplane will always go back to that point.
Yeah,
right.
Instead of you don't having to replay the whole game. So you go back to Duckburg and talk to that bloke that you just met at the very start. You ask him if you've seen the hero key. So you call the aeroplane, you get the hero key, he says, right, you can go back to Mexico now. Says you can open it if you want to, as if you wouldn't. There we go, select, use, Donald's used it. The door opens. And here we meet Goofy. He says Gyro's looking for you. He gives you a note and a red plunger, your upgrade, your first upgrade.
Right.
So you go back to Duckburg and you can climb this wall now with a red plunger. So you go up here and you climb all along these pylons later on and you meet Gyro and he gives you bubblegum that helps you blast through certain walls and certain barrels.
Come in handy on the Transylvania level.
As we'll show you. So here you go, you're in Transylvania, and then you fight Dracula, and he gives you the real map. So you got Egypt.
This map we've had so far is totally fake, is it?
Oh yes. So you got Egypt, you got South Pole, Viking ship, and the Marahaja. So we've gone to Egypt. You need another key to open that ruins. You go over to the South Pole here. Bring your winter warmers, everybody. When you get there, you find a Viking key that's trapped in ice, but you haven't got anything to melt it. So, you put down your flag, call the aeroplane, and you go all the way up to the Viking ship.
Now, how do you know where to go for this? You just have to guess, I guess, in your first playthrough.
It's just guessing, really.
And from what the people say, I guess.
Oh, yes. You talk to this bloke, and he says that there's ghosts running his ship, and can you go and destroy him? But we're not Ghostbusters, we're Indiana Jones.
So you ignore him for the time being?
Ignore him for the time being, of course. You know, anybody would. So you call the plane, and you go to the Marahaja now. So after our refreshing drink, we go to the Marahaja. He says, can you go deal with a tiger in the garden? Why would you want to deal with a tiger in the garden? I don't know. You get the Sphinx's tear for it, though, as promised, as you can see there, which is this right down on that cushion. So now we've got everything we need. Back to Egypt we go. I told you, it's a long, long quest. There we go, see? Call the plane. So we go to Egypt, and now we can open the door to the other ruins, the second ruins we find in this game. And here we go. Now that note that Goofy gave us is very integral to this little bit. 1 sun, 2 moon, 3 star. It's a code, because if you don't get it right, the roof collapses in on you. There we go, 1 sun, 2 moon, 3-star. And see, there's the roof. Climb up here. And lo and behold, we get the Sceptre of Ra.
Ooh.
Now, for those historians know that Ra is the Egyptian god of the sun.
Ah, so maybe that'll be handy for helping melt that ice block.
It would indeed, you're correct. So there we go.
You use your head in this game, don't you?
You do, you have to know a little bit about history and that, you know, it all makes sense.
Educational.
Of course, it's educational. So, after we've got the Sceptre of Ra, we go to the South Pole.
So you now use the sceptre to melt the ice.
Yep, and Donald used it, and everything goes a little bit trippy, like in the 60s. There we go, we got the Viking key. So, logical, Tom, where do we need to go now?
The Viking ship!
Hurrah! Now we can
Kill those ghosts.
We could be Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters in Indiana Jones.
Classic 80s films.
Oh, classic. So here we go. We can go and talk to this bloke. Now we talked to him, we've already got rid of the ghosts, and he says, can we have the Viking diary? You think he's got it, but lo and behold, he hasn't.
Oh.
So he says he's hidden it in the South Pole.
Oh, not the South Pole again, Gary.
Yeah, so we have to go back to the South Pole. But luckily he gives us an upgrade for his, the plunger, which is a green one, which helps us get across a huge chasm. So here we go. We go back to the South Pole. Flying, the air miles he gets on this is amazing. So, we find the Viking diary. Oh, you just can't trust nephews now. You tell them one thing and they just do the other.
So Pete demands that you give him the Viking diary in exchange for his nephew, Donald's nephew.
Yeah, typical bad guy, you know, he wants this.
So I guess it's now after Pete, isn't it, to get that diary back?
Oh, of course. You know, he wouldn't be a hero, would he, if he just said no. So, you go into the airplane and you have to get the diary and the map back.
Right.
But now you're coming to the end of the game. There we see the hideout. Not that far from
Just appeared, yeah.
It's not that far from Duckburg, really.
That was long-winded, Gary.
It was very long-winded. Oh dear. Calling your plane to go here and there and everywhere it's ridiculous, really.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to afford that nowadays, not with today's fuel prices.
No, it was in 91, so fuel prices were alright then, so it's okay.
Fair enough. Quackshot has a few nods, well, more than a few nods to Indiana Jones, is that correct?
This is why I'm wearing this get-up.
You've probably seen from the game already Donald's attire, very similar to Gary's attire today.
And I'm very dressed like Indiana Jones as well.
But it was interesting how you encountered Quackshot before Indiana Jones.
Yes, it was. When I got the game originally, I hadn't watched Indiana Jones, and when I was playing it, my mum and dad, they said, like, yo, this looks like Indiana Jones. And there's certain bits in Quackshot that pays tribute, homage to Indiana Jones. And we'll show you some of these as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few. These are quite interesting. Straight away on the title screen you can see the Indiana Jones influence there in the typeface.
Pete's also dressed like Rene Belloc there, for those of you who know Indiana Jones films in and out. Also, this is very, very obvious, I believe.
From Temple of Doom, the minecart.
Of course. If you're going to pay tribute to it, you've got to have a cart chase, haven't you? It's just standard. Also, the diary is used like Last Crusade. You know, where you have to find like the diary in that one, and you go all over the world, much like this. The Maharaja here, he's like the one in Temple of Doom. This is pretty obvious, the Leap of Faith.
From Last Crusade.
Yeah, you know.
It looks so similar, doesn't it, to the film?
But I didn't have enough faith, so I died. And also, again, from the Last Crusade, Fighting a Knight. Although Indiana Jones got off quite lightly, you know, the guy was old. As in most games. More nowadays, there's Easter eggs and cameos.
Little treats.
Little treats that people find out.
For the eagle-eyed.
Yes, for the eagle-eyed. And
Quackshot has got some cameos in it as well. It has. It's got a few cameos, and some that you might not realise straight away. But when we point it out to you, you'll go, oh yes, that's from, and he's from, and she's from. So, we'll have a look at these, and we'll tell you a bit about them.
Take a look, shall we?
Yes.
Right, here's Uncle Scrooge. He's a cameo at the start. Goofy's just in the ruins, just doing nothing.
He serves a purpose, really, gives you the thing.
He does. Here's Gyro from DuckTales. Everyone who remembers DuckTales, of course. Shere Khan from Jungle Book makes an appearance. Why would you fight him?
He looks very fat there.
He does. Car.
Again from Jungle Book.
And Mickey Mouse.
Oh, of course.
He has to be in there anyway. Then there's Daisy.
When you get back, Daisy expects a present, but she's not too impressed with what you've managed to find. Right, so you've travelled all around the globe.
Yes.
You know, you've risked your life.
Yes. And your nephews as well.
Your nephews have been kidnapped and you managed to save them again.
Being attacked by various animals and people.
Yeah, Donald's been through a lot.
He has.
All to get this treasure for his girlfriend,
I know.
Daisy.
And she ain't pleased.
No. Which is incredibly frustrating.
He lands back in the airport, and there she is, fuming, angry that he's gone off on this wild adventure.
There are some particularly frustrating bits in the game.
There is. There's a few. We're going to show you a few of these frustrating bits that I found challenging, still find a little bit challenging back then when I was younger.
Because this wouldn't be a games review without a little bit of moaning.
Oh no, it wouldn't. So we'll show you these few, and we'll do our best to explain why these challenging for myself.
As I said, there is a few frustrating bits. Like this is one bit where you have to time your jumps and your shooting, because if you don't, a wall comes in. And as you can see, enter stage left, the wall comes in and crushes you to your doom. And this is another one. When we were recording this, I couldn't for the life of me remember the combination to get in to fight Shere Khan.
Yeah, it's basically a maze, this section of the game, and you go in and out of numbered doors, trying to find your way to the boss battle.
This one, when I was younger I used to hate this bit because I used to get the jumps wrong and used to get zapped by the flames that jump up. This bit's not that bad, you just have to sprint really fast, but this bit, after this one, the flames come in and you have to jump, and then later on the flames appear as well, and you have to time your jumps and try not to get zapped by both of them, and also run really fast, as you can see here. I used to remember when I was young jumping too high and hitting my head on one of them flames and fall into my doom.
I go as far as saying Quackshot is probably one of the best games on the Mega Drive, and as we keep stressing, very unique.
It is very unique. So I mean, Epic Mickey's come out. We need Donald more of a game like this again.
Yeah, this was probably one of Donald's video gaming's finest moments.
It was.
And yeah, we've seen very little of him recently, other than there was a game that I think was first released back on the N64, which also included, it was a platform game, which included...
you could have the Quackshot attire.
Yeah.
Which I think was a nice little touch, but Donald needs to have a game like this, like Lucky Dan Caper again.
You know, actually, I think what Mega Drive Gary would like to see is a compilation.
Or would.
Because Sega, back in the 90s, they made a lot of really good Disney games.
Did. We got the Sega Mega Drive collections with loads of other games.
But of course they don't feature any of the Disney titles.
No. Whether there's a legal issue, we don't know. But they need to have a Disney collection one.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll start a petition on Blast Process for that.
Yeah.
But join me in saying thank you again to Mega Drive Gary.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Always a pleasure.
Oh,
for
always.
Joining us. I suppose you've got to get back on your plane now.
Yes. Well, fuel prices are a little bit too difficult nowadays, so I think I'll walk.
Well, you might as well take your copy of Quackshot with you.
Yes.
Which, of course, yes, Castle of Illusion.
Castle of Illusion
on there as well. Was that one of the Disney games you enjoyed?
It was. You know, I think that could be one I could do later on.